Hello and welcome to the 6th week of Season 22, Season of the Witch, starting on September 26th, 2023. So for week 6, let's jump right in with our Legacy rotation, starting with the Forsaken expansion.
Ready if you are. Let's see what's out there.
The Dreaming City this week is at a strong curse level, which means Petrovenge can be found in Rio Silvia, and has the Dark Monastery mission for the next week. The Blind Well features Taken Enemies and the Plague Aina Mina. The Ascendant challenge this week will be Ouroboros, which can be located over in the Aphelios Rest Lost sector on the Dreaming City. Next up, the Shadowkeep expansion. On the Moon, the weekly story mission is in the Deep, the Trove Guardian is located in the Hellmouth, while the Wandering Nightmare is the Nightmare Resortal in Sorrow's Harbour. And the Nightmare hunts this week will be Crota, Despair, Omnigul, Anguish, and the Fanatic, Insanity. For our Beyond Light expansion, on Europa this week, Praxis the Technocrat will be the Empire Hunt, Cadmus Ridge will be the Eclipse Zone, and the Exo Challenge will be Safeguard. For the 30th Anniversary expansion, Days of Eternity Legendary rounds are Hive, Fallen, and for the final round, Valasta Arc. The loot rotation will be on week 3's rotation, with the Scatterhorn armor set and the Lightkin armor set being available. The weapons available this week are the Kinetic Rapid Fire Frame Auto Rifle Chroma Rush, the Kinetic Lightweight Frame Grenade Launcher Ignition Code, the Void Rapid Fire Frame Pulse Rifle Grid Skipper, the Kinetic Lightweight Frame Sidearm Farewell, the Solar Pinpoint Slug Frame Shotgun Sonja's Tail, the Void Rapid Fire Frame Machine Gun Shattered Cipher, the Arc Precision Frame Fusion Rifle Main Ingredient, the Kinetic Adaptive Frame Sniper Rifle Long Shadow, the Arc Armor Adaptive Frame Sidearm Last Dance, the Kinetic Aggressive Frame Shotgun Toil and Trouble, the Solar Rapid Fire Frame Shotgun Wishbringer, and the Void Adaptive Frame Pulse Rifle Last Perdition. For the Witch Queen expansion, the Witch Queen weekly story mission is the Ritual, where the modifier is Fire Pit, as well as Barrier and Unstoppable Champions. Also this week you will have Altar of Reflection's Choice and Altar of Reflection's Insight. The Wellspring activity has been updated to include a featured Throne World weapon, Veritas armor, and a weapon pattern as its rewards. For the Lightfall expansion, the weekly mission is First Contact, with extra shields, locked loadouts, and extra champions. Barrier and Unstoppable Champions, Void Threat, Scorched Earth, Overcharged Weapons, Arc and Strand Surges, Overcharged Shotguns, and Galvanized on Hero difficulty only. The Partition mission will be Hard Reset, Contest Mode enabled with Barrier and Unstoppable Champions, Arc Threat, Scorched Earth, Pestilence and Martyr modifiers, Arc and Strand Shields, with Void and Strand Surges. And the Vex incursion this week will be Liming Harbour. In addition, the weekly Lightfall reset also refreshes the Pinnacle drop for the Node Override Avalon Exotic mission on the EDZ. For the Season of the Deep, all 3 fishing ponds are now exotic all week. Raids and Dungeons. The Crota's End Raid challenge this week is the second encounter across the bridge called Precarious Balance. Guardians cannot step on the bridge while it is fully formed. Plus, if you complete the weekly challenge on Master, you'll get an Adept weapon. The Adept weapon you get is a random drop but works on a knockout system. You will get a new one with every challenge you complete every week until you've unlocked them all. The Vow the Disciple challenge this week is the 4th encounter, Rok, called Looping Catalyst. This is where Guardians must not lose the Leeching Force buff before the damage phase. The Vault of Glass challenge this week is the 5th encounter, Atheon, called Ensembler's Refrain. Each player teleported can only destroy 1 Oracle in each spawn set. The Deep Stone Crypt challenge this week is the 2nd encounter, Atrax 1, called Copies of Copies, where you must not send any Atrax 1 replicant debuffs into the airlock/space. The Garden of Salvation challenge this week is the 2nd encounter, Spy Defense, called A Link to the Chain. This is where all Guardians must receive the Enlighten buff at the same time. And the Last Wish challenge this week is the 4th encounter, Vault, called Keep Out. Guardians must ensure that no Might of Riven Knights make it to the Center Chamber during the Vault fight. Your Pinnacle raid will be Kingsfall over in the Legends tab, which means all challenges will be available for each encounter. These are the 1st encounter, Totems, called The Grass is Always Greener. Players cannot take the same brand type twice in a row. The 2nd encounter, War Priest, called Devious Thievery. Players must steal the brand of the initiate within a couple of seconds of taking the brand claimer's buff. The 3rd encounter, Golgoroth, called Gazer Maze. The Gaze holder must stand in the pool of unclaimed light when swapping the gaze. The 4th encounter, Daughters of Oryx, called Under Construction. Players cannot stand on the same plate twice in a single phase. And the 5th encounter, Oryx, called Hands Off. Players must not kill the same Ogre or Light Eater Knight throughout the encounter. Also, with the Kingsfall being the featured raid, this does mean that you can farm the final boss for a chance at the exotic scout rifle, Touch of Malice. The Pinnacle dungeon will be the Grasp of Avarice over on the Cosmodrome, and our exotic mission rotator will be Operation Seraph Shield, with the Revision 0 exotic pulse rifle being the main reward. Craftable weapons available from this mission include the Stasis Aggressive Frame Linear Fusion Rifle Fire and Forget, the Arc Lightweight Frame Bow Tripwire Canary, the Stasis Aggressive Burst Pulse Rifle Disparity, the Arc Adaptive Frame Trace Rifle Path of Least Resistance, the Solar Aggressive Glaive Judgment of Kelgaroth, the Void Rapid Fire Frame Machine Gun Retrofit Escapade, the Void Precision Frame Hand Cannon iCalos HC, the Solar Rapid Fire Frame Shotgun iCalos SG, the Solar Rapid Fire Frame Sniper iCalos SR, and the Arc Aggressive Frame Submachine Gun iCalos SMG, with the Warmind's Avatar Armor Set. Next up, challenges. Acolyte's Ascent 6. Complete Week 6 of the Bladed Path quest for Challenge XP. Luminary 3. Master the Light by defeating 300 combatants with Void, Arc or Solar damage. Earn bonus progress by affecting combatants with subclass abilities. Volatile, Blind and Scorch. 4. Challenge XP++. Sympathetic Magic. Defeat 100 combatants in Savathûn Spire using damage that matches your active subclass. 4. Challenge XP+. Bonebreaker. Crush 100 Lucent Hive Ghosts anywhere in Savathûn's Throne World. Earn bonus progress during Season of the Witch activities. 4. Challenge XP. Mod Collector. Unlock 12 artifact mods. 4. Challenge XP++ and Bright Dust. Trial by Firing Squad. Win multiple rounds in Trials of Osiris. 4. Challenge XP++, Bright Dust and a Trials weapon. Calibrate Long Range. Calibrate long range weapons. Pulse rifles, bows and trace rifles. Bonus progress is granted for defeating Guardians. 4. Challenge XP+, and Bright Dust. And Heavy Hardware. Get final blows with heavy ammo in ritual activities. And bonus progress for machine gun final blows or by defeating Guardians. 4. Challenge XP++, and Bright Dust. Hello! As a reminder, your daily lost sector will show you a flag outside which will give you details of threats, shields, champions and exotic armour you will find inside. But if you're new to the game or using an alternate character and can't find the flag outside, you will have to run through the lost sector normally to have it show up on your map as a legend/master, which you can either do solo or with a fire team, but you'll only be able to earn a chance at the exotic drop when completing solo. Tuesday, September 26 will be Metamorphosis on the Throne World for exotic gauntlets, Arc Threat, Arc and Strand Surges, Arc and Solar Shields, Scorched Earth Modifier, Overcharged Machine Guns with Overload and Unstoppable Champions. Wednesday, September 27th will be the K1 Revelations on the Moon for exotic chests, Void Threat, Arc and Strand Surges, Arc Shields, Fire Pit Modifier, Overcharged Machine Guns with Barrier and Unstoppable Champions. Thursday, September 28th will be the K1 Communion on the Moon for exotic helmets, Solar Threat, Arc and Strand Surges, Solar and Void Shields, Arachno Modifier, Overcharged Linear Fusion Rifles with Barrier and Overload Champions. Friday, September 29th will be the K1 Crew Quarters on the Moon for exotic boots, Arc Threat, Arc and Strand Surges, Solar Shields, Hot Knife Modifier, Overcharged Glaives with Barrier and Overload Champions. Saturday, September 30th will be the Concealed Void on Europa for exotic gauntlets, Solar Threat, Arc and Strand Surges, Void and Solar Shields, Arachno Modifier, Overcharged Trace Rifles with Barrier and Overload Champions. Sunday, October 1st will be Bunker E15 on Europa for exotic chests, Void Threat, Solar and Strand Surges, Void Shields, Shocker Modifier, Overcharged Grenade Launchers with Barrier and Overload Champions. And finally, back round to Monday, October 2nd will be Bay of Drowned Wishes on the Dreaming City for exotic helmets, Arc Threat, Solar and Strand Surges, Void Shields, Stalker Shield Modifier, Overcharged Snipers with Unstoppable and Overload Champions.
Lead the way.
Our 6th featured Nightfall of the season will see us face off against Darkblade Kelgaroth, risen from the bone in the Heist Battlegrounds Mars, where you have a chance to get a Pinnacle engram if you complete the Nightfall with a score of 200k or more. This Nightfall is free to play. You'll be able to earn high-end gear for your characters, including the Nightfall featured weapon, exotic gear, enhancement cores, enhancement prisms, ascendant shards and adept Nightfall ciphers. The higher the Nightfall difficulty, the more common the drop will be, with the featured weapon and exotic gear being uncommon at hero difficulty to being common with ascendant shards in Grand Masters. Legend and low Nightfalls will have 5 barrier and 6 unstoppable champions, with 40% solar, 40% arc and 20% void shields. Masters and GMs will have 8 barrier and 9 unstoppable, with 40% solar, 40% arc and 20% void shields. Your Nightfall modifiers are hero difficulty, maximum effective level 1765, matchmaking is available, Enemies have extra shields. Champions foe, you will face barrier and unstoppable champions. You can either use intrinsic exotics, use a subclass debuff, or unlock anti-champion mods from the seasonal artifact. Solar threat, 25% increase to incoming solar damage. Empath, enhanced radar, take increased damage from melee. Overcharged weapons, weapons overcharged from the seasonal artifact are active in this activity. Kinetic weapons do increased damage when your subclass element matches an active surge. Solar and strand surges, 25% bonus to outgoing solar and strand damage. Overcharged machine guns, 25% bonus damage with machine guns. Galvanized, combatants have more health and are more difficult to stun. Legend difficulty, maximum effective level 18-15, includes all previous modifiers except Galvanized. No matchmaking. Equipment locked, you will be unable to change your equipment once the mission starts. Master difficulty, maximum effective level 18-20, includes all previous modifiers except Galvanized. Champions mob, this difficulty adds more champion enemies. Grandmaster difficulty, maximum effective level 18-15, includes all previous modifiers except Galvanized and Empath. Join in progress disabled. Extinguish, if your fighting falls in a restricted zone, your team is returned to orbit. Limited revives, gain additional revives by defeating champions up to a maximum of 20. Contest mode, which caps your power level to make enemies more of a challenge. Fire pit, when defeated, acolytes spawn fireballs that cause damage over time. And Chafe, radar is disabled. To combat champions this season, you have access to subclass counters as well as a choice of intrinsic anti-champion artifact mods, which are Anti-Barrier Auto Rifle, Anti-Barrier Bow, Unstoppable Scout Rifle, and Unstoppable Fusion. You also have exotic weapons and armor that can help with intrinsic mods as well. For Anti-Barrier, the Kinetic Bow Wishender, the Kinetic Linear Fusion Rifle Arbalest, the Kinetic Pulse Rifle Revision 0, the Solar Energy Hand Cannon Eriana's Vow, the Solar Heavy Sword the Lament, and the Titan Gauntlet's Second Chance, which gain a second charge of a shield throw melee, which becomes shield piercing and stuns barrier champions. And for Unstoppable, the Kinetic Fusion Rifle Bastion, the Kinetic Hand Cannon Malfeasance, the Kinetic Scout Rifle Touch of Malice, the Solar Energy Sidearm Devil's Ruin, the Void Heavy Bow Leviathan's Breath, and the Hunter Gauntlet's Atheris's Embrace, which have a chance to stun unstoppable champions with their empowered weighted knife. The Nightfall featured weapon to attain this week will be the Solar Precision Frame Bow Pre-Ascian Axe 4. The Pre-Ascian Axe 4 has a base impact of 76, accuracy of 65 and stability of 40. It can roll with collective action, opening shot and explosive head, with enlightened action, perpetual motion and archer's tempo. It has the origin trait of stunning recovery, where if you stun a champion you partially refill the magazine, trigger health regen and improve your recovery for a short duration. Vanguard Vindication, where final blows with the weapon grant a small amount of health. And Wildcard, final blows with the weapon have a chance to create experimental submunitions at the target's location. Lord Shaxx brings Team Scorch to the Crucible for the 6th week of the season. Team Scorch is a 6v6 PvP mode where all players wield a Scorch Cannon. Equipped weapons and abilities cannot be used in this game mode. Movement abilities, e.g. lift, jump and glide, sprinting and emotes can be used. Players are forced to use a Scorch Cannon that cannot be dropped. The Scorch Cannon has 100 ammo which is replenished on respawn. Matches have a 7-minute timer, players have a 3-second respawn timer, kills give plus 1 point each, the first team to reach 60 points wins. If the timer runs out before the team reaches 50 points, the team with the largest score wins. The player's current and longest kill streaks are shown at the top of the screen below the score. And Zone Control will also be available in the Relentless Crucible playlist. Zone Control is a 6v6 game mode which emphasises team-based gameplay in capturing zones and not kills. Zone Control forces players to collaborate more actively in capturing and defending zones. Capturing zones dramatically takes longer if only one player tries to do it themselves, with it taking 22.5 seconds to capture the point, whereas 2 can capture within 10 seconds. 3 or more players will capture the zone in 7.5 seconds. Beyond that, capturing a zone will net the team 1 point per capture, and holding on to the point will reward 2 points every 15 seconds per zone, making it essential to lock down areas rather than float between them carelessly. The first team to 125 points wins. Available in the Crucible Labs playlist this week will be the new game mode Checkmate Control. Checkmate Control is a modified version of Control, where rich primary weapon fights can happen more often, and gun skill can be augmented by communication and strong positioning. You will still have to capture the control point, but primary weapon damage has been tuned to feel a little differently from the rest of the game, without it being too jarring. This should reduce the gap between the faster killing weapons and the average time to kill, and in general pushing longer range primaries into the slower killing profiles. Players' health has been increased, but the passive regeneration of grenade, melee and class abilities has been reduced by 50%, and supers by 40%. You will also not spawn in with special ammo. Instead, you will have to earn it by generating points from kills, assists, deaths, zone captures, and gathering heavy ammo. You won't lose points accumulated on death, and special ammo you earn persists through lives and rounds. Additionally, you do not drop special ammo on death. This all results in slightly longer combat encounters that reward skill and consistency.
Delightful!
And Saint 14 will be back at the weekend with Trials of Osiris Dominion, bringing with him a whole host of rewards for players who do make it to the Lighthouse and open the chest. These include the Hero's Wake exotic Ghost Shell, the Valiant Memory exotic Ship, the Survivor's Journey exotic Sparrow, a new armor set, and the new Trials shader, Bloodline Feud. Trials of Osiris Dominion is a 3v3 PvP high stakes game mode with a twist of a capture point. In Dominion, 2 teams of 3 go head to head in a battle for control of a capture point. Teams can either work together to capture the control point or eliminate the enemy team to win the round. Only available from Friday reset until Tuesday weekly reset, Trials gives every player the chance to show off their PvP skills to obtain some of Destiny's most sought after weapons and armour. Players that compete in Trials of Osiris will have all of their games tracked to a passage card, a ticket purchased from Saint 14 in the lower hangar of the tower. Winning rounds and matches in Trials of Osiris will grant exclusive weapons, armour, Pinnacle gear, masterwork materials, and even adept gear for the most skilled players who can reach the Lighthouse with a flawless ticket of 7 games won and no losses. 5 round wins will bag you the match for your passage card. By competing in Trials, you do have a chance to pick up 2 Pinnacle engrams from playing each week, one from 50 round wins and the other from winning 7 games. These do not have to be done all in one go, but you do have to complete them before the weekly reset.
That is amazing.
And that's it for week 6 of Season of the Witch. By Art Guardians.
Guardian down.